Hi there, I'm Andrea Simone and I'm the founder of Hemper Solutions. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to make your own neck scarf. I'll show you how to thread your machine, thread your bobbin, measure out your pattern, pin properly, and maybe in the future you'll be able to make your own couture gown. So enjoy and don't forget to subscribe.
So we're going to start by drawing our pattern. So you're going to need pattern paper, which is usually a bit translucent so you can see through if you're tracing a pattern. We're gonna make the scarf about 24 inches by 24 inches square because I'm gonna double up the scarf and fold it in half and make it into a large triangle. I'm just marking down 24 inches. I'm actually gonna have to cut 2 of these out and tape it together, so I'll show you that process as well. Now, if you're looking to buy fabric for a neck scarf, you're probably good to get a yard of any type of fabric that you want, and that'll be sufficient for a 24 by 24 inch neck scarf. So we can use these weights to prevent the paper from rolling and getting in our way while we're cutting. We're gonna use that first piece we cut out and cut out a second piece. We can use it as our template. Good time to put some weights because this paper tends to roll very easily. And cut that. We have our 2 pieces cut out, so now we need to measure it at 24 inches. Now we've got our pattern piece and we can set up the fabric to start cutting out our necktie. Got our hemp fabric spread across our table. Now we're gonna put our pattern piece that we made. This is a lined fabric, which is typically a little bit more difficult to work with because you need your lines meeting up. We're pinning so we can cut without the fabric and paper moving and everything stays in place. Everything's securely pinned down, we can start cutting out our pattern and fabric. And you want to use a specific type of scissors that's for fabric and a little bit stronger, and make sure they're nice and sharp so you don't have any issues with cutting. You want to try not to lift the fabric up if you don't have to, because by lifting it, it can shift your fabric and you'll get a completely different shape than you actually are looking for. Finished cutting out our piece, and we're just going to take the pins out. If you want to buy fashion patterns, I mean, I usually get a lot of my patterns off of Etsy, and there's a lot of cool vintage ones and contemporary, more modern styles. And then, you know, the better you get at sewing, you can start changing up patterns, creating your own. Now with fabric, there's typically a right side up. So there's a piece that, you know, goes on the inside, and then there's a piece that you showcase on the outside. Sometimes it can be hard to tell with some fabrics what the inside and what the outside is. Others you can tell quite easily. So this is our right side of our fabric. So if that's the right side, you want to place the right sides together when you're pinning. Just to show you a more clear example of what I mean when I say right sides together. This is a wrong side. This is the right side. So when you're sewing pieces together, you want to make sure right sides are together. So all the sewing and all the stitching will be on the inside. Okay. Now that we've got our right sides together, we're going to pin this so we can get ready to sew. When we pin, we want the plastic head or whatever kind of pin you're using and the metal to stick out vertically. When you're sewing, You don't want the needle going over the metal pin. So you want to make it easily accessible for you to take out as you sew. Depending on how many pins you have, every 1.5 to 2 inches. So we want to make sure that the pins are vertical and sticking out of the fabric.
Now we're going to show you how to thread your machine and thread your bobbin. Right, Peggy?
We're using a basic Kenmore. There's a few settings here, different foot setups with this knob here, the type of stitch that you're looking for. We're just gonna do the basic and stick with the stitch type A, and that's the wheel to make the switch. Now this is to determine the length of your stitch. You typically wanna keep it at 2.5, 3. Here you've got your reverse lever. You've got a hand wheel here. This is the foot pedal. When you're threading your bobbin, when you're sewing your fabric, you'll be using the foot pedals. First thing you want to do when you are threading your bobbin is pull out your hand wheel. We're going to thread our bobbin. So we're using an all-purpose thread, and this is kind of an off-white. It's about 300 yards. All-purpose is good for just basic types of sewing. We've got our thread on top of our spool here, and we're going to take our thread and put it through the hole on top of the bobbin. Feed it through. Apparently I need glasses. So we've got a little tension screw here just to keep the thread tight. And then we've got another little spool here that's specifically for our bobbin. When you're ready to start threading your bobbin, this needs to be moved because it'll prevent the wheels from turning in here, and it'll focus on this spot here. Turn the machine on. Our hand wheel has been pulled out. You can wrap your little bobbin thread around your finger because it's going to start moving, and once it starts moving, it's going to start threading the bobbin. Keep it going till your bobbin is full. Here we have our threaded bobbin. Now we have to put our bobbin in position. This is a little tabletop that you can remove. A little extra storage as well. Your bobbin is different with every machine, but for this Kenmore specifically, this is where the bobbin is found. And it even gives you a little diagram of how to place the bobbin inside the holder. So to take it out, a little lever here, pull the lever, and we put our bobbin inside there. The thread needs to be out this way. We're gonna feed the thread through that slit, bring it across, and loop it through here. Try to show you what I mean, even though it's not as easy to see. So thread, slit, loop it around and down. Okay, I'll do it again. Slit, around and down. Okay, nice and tense. Use that lever that I showed you, hold it so the bobbin doesn't fall out, and when you're placing the bobbin back in, you want to go left until you hear a click. Now the bobbin's in. You leave our loose thread, close this up, put your table back. I'm going to walk us through how to thread the machine. You place your thread on top of this spike. Take your thread, bring it along. You've got a hook here. We're gonna go underneath that hook. Follow this line. This machine has an arrow and it's telling you to go down and around. There's another hook, and this is attached to the hand wheel at the back. You wanna make sure it's always in an upwards position. We're gonna go in and around that hook. Bring the thread down. We've got another hook here. I'm gonna place the thread in that small hook so it keeps it all in place. Sometimes you wanna turn the machine on so you have some light. You wanna put it through the eye of the needle. Once you get your thread through, you're going to grab the end and pull it all the way back. That is threaded and ready. To start sewing, I just want to show you up close the little measurement guide that we have at our foot here. We've got our foot measurement, the edge of the foot, 5/8, 7/8. So depending on the pattern you're working with, it'll tell you what your sewing guide is. We've got our fabric in place here. We're gonna sew at the edge of the foot. In order to start, you've got to put your needle down first to get it into position. In order to put the needle down, you're gonna go to your wheel at the back here and you're gonna move it towards you. You put your foot down. All right, just to show you a close-up of where the lever is to move the foot into position. And then that'll keep your fabric in place while the foot moves everything forward. You want to start really slow because it can get overwhelming. You don't want to put too much weight on your foot pedal or else you're just going to be driving it way too fast. So just start slowly. Take your foot off when you need to stop because you're going to have to pause every time you have to take any of these pins out. When you're sewing pieces together, you have to use something called the back tuck in order to close your stitches off so they don't open up. Now, in order to do a back tuck, you've got your reverse pedal here that I showed you earlier. You're gonna hold it down and with your pedal, go back. It's gonna reverse a little bit there. So now that you've done your back tuck, you're good to keep going. Pin out. Try to keep it on the edge of the foot here. You don't need to pull or push too much because you've got little mechanisms that are driving your fabric forward. As we're getting closer to the first point here, I'm going to show you a pivot. You want your needle down. You're going to use your hand wheel to make sure your needle's down. Lift your foot lever and then adjust as you need to continue on the edge of your pattern and fabric here. We're getting close to the end of our fabric. Just want to show you when I told you to keep your right sides together, it's because we are going to be flipping this piece inside out. I like to mark where I have to stop sewing with 2 pins just so it reminds me so I don't keep going. And we're going to leave a little opening here. So when we're done, we can flip it around and I'll show you what the almost finished piece looks like. When you're getting to your end piece here, don't forget to back tuck. Make sure when you're taking your fabric off that your hand wheel is always turned for this hook to be up and out. Lift your lever up, pull your fabric out, cut your threads. All right, so here's our almost finished piece. You want to find where you left the opening. You want to leave it big enough so it's easy to flip inside out. So here's your hole. And you're going to start bringing all the fabric from the inside to the outside. Once you have everything flipped out, then you're going to get your iron and you're going to iron everything flat and you're going to iron your seams so it's nice and folded properly. And then we're going to go ahead and close the end here. To close it nicely, I like to just flip the frayed side and the part that can unravel 1/4 inch, and you're gonna pin, and that's gonna be what's sewn, okay? Here is our completed hemp neck scarf. I think it turned out quite chic, quite cute. The only thing I would do differently is maybe go a little bit bigger. You can go 30 by 30 with your pattern, 40 by 40. You could do a rectangular pattern if you'd like, but I think it's really chic, really cute. You can also make one for your fur baby. Look very cute on them as well. I hope you enjoyed our beginner sewing tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section. And thanks for watching. Do you like your hemp scarf, baby? Okay, that's nice. Do you like your hemp scarf? You do? That's nice. Thank you very much. Say bye, Peggy. Bye. Bye. Thanks for watching.